two of three, President Trump and Elliot Broidy. The third one wants to remain anonymous. Is that in Michael Cohen's best interest, and is it sustainable?
Probably not in his best interest, and because it's fairly new territory, I don't want to say it's completely unsustainable. I mean, the reality is what the judge, I think, is doing is assessing the scope of how much material is going to be out there, but also letting the filter team or whoever it's going to be that does it understand their search terms, understand what is it that they're looking for that might trigger a claim of privilege. So if you leave out a client's name, then there's a much greater chance that the filter team will recover and review materials that might have otherwise been privileged. So it's a little bit against his interest not to identify the person, but I imagine he's got some sort of
probably
real
has a good reason to try
it.
to. Last question. We don't have that much time, but I did want to ask you. Everyone's talking about James Comey's book. He's also a potential witness in the Mueller investigation. Do you think, from your experience, that James Comey might have, tampered his own witness shield in providing this book?
Well, I'll put it this way. I don't think any prosecutor wants to put a witness on the stand that publishes a book about their testimony. There's room for problems from that, just from that very fact. But in the grand scheme of things, and this is probably a little bit of a naive or romantic notion by me, I would kind of hope that FBI directors wouldn't typically want to do kiss and tell books. So no matter what the president said or did, no matter what Comey's feelings of being a victim or not, the idea that a law enforcement person at that high level writes these types of books is a little bit disturbing to me. So I don't know if that's direct to credibility, but it's certainly a factor in terms of assessing him. That said, I don't think there's going to be an obstruction case that relies on Mr. Comey to be a star witness anyway.
All right. Well, we love having you on the show. Thanks, James Trusty. We'll be back in touch.
Thanks, Dan.
So it's midterm Monday, and a brand new poll shows the Democratic lead is shrinking. So do predictions of a blue wave still hold? Plus, the White House trying to get back on track as James Comey and Michael Cohen dominate the headlines. Chris Stirewalt weighs in next.
See, the president has constitutional protections for what he did as president. He has far fewer protections for what he did as a business person. There's no evidence he did anything wrong, but that's where his vulnerabilities lie.
There's little rest for a single dad, and back pain made it hard to sleep and get up on time. Then I found Aleve PM.
The only one to combine a safe sleep aid plus the 12-hour pain-relieving strength of Aleve.
I'm back.
Aleve PM for a better AM.
Some hotel websites are just too complicated. Click here and select that. What? A registration? What's up with all these pop-ups? And now they tell me it's fully booked. What a waste of time. All I really want is a good 4-star hotel with Wi-Fi, a spa, and to have Kitty with me. By simply telling Trivago what I want from my hotel, I find it for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people. When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
Belfour was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
Guys, is this you? Busting out of your pants? Out of shape? No energy or drive? Then you need Nutrisystem for men.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
I'm Essex, and I lost 43 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month. Money back guarantee. Real guys, real results. Put down the wings, pick up the phone, and get with the program today. Order your 28-day plan now and save 40% off every program. That's 40% off breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. For a limited time, save 40%. Plus, get 1 week of all new NutriPro shakes, packed with 20 grams of protein to help shrink your gut, free.
The food was delicious.
I love the food. Pasta, pizza, so good.
Plus, we'll throw in FedEx shipping free.
It was perfect for guys like me who don't like to cook.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month.
It's simple. You eat the food, you lose the weight.
Go online or call 877-372-THIN and get free shakes plus 40% off every program.
Mom, Dad, hi. I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-thru lane. But what a powerful life lesson And don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll just forgive you.
4 weeks without the car.
Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
I just want to find a used car without getting ripped off.
Start at thenewcarfax.com.
Show me used trucks with one owner.
Pretty cool.
Show me the Carfax.
Start your used car search at theallnewcarfax.com.
Fox News Channel on Sirius XM. Your favorite shows on Channel 114. Plus, every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7 at Channel 115.
The White House battling multiple fires as it tries to regain its footing after James Comey's explosive interview ahead of the release of his new book and the ongoing legal saga of President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Chris Starwalt is Fox News politics editor and editor of Halftime Report. So I have a theory. Can I run it by you? I really feel like James Comey's book is not making a lot of news. There wasn't a lot of new things in it. And I think it's going to sort of like dissipate. I don't think it's going to have the big shock effect that James Comey thought it would. Am I wrong?
Well, I think this is more than anything, you get down to it, it's a partisan litmus test. You hear the screechy, freaky wailing from Republican precincts attacking James Comey as the devil himself. And then you will hear from members of the hashtag resistance that James Comey is a powerful truth teller, honest as he is tall, and a magnificent specimen of American excellence.
Right. And it took James Comey to bring Republicans and Democrats together. Amazing.
Yes. And in the end, it's sort of like, who cares? Because we're going to have to wait and see what Mueller does. Comey and Trump phrasing and couching and attacking each other in this way doesn't really get us any closer to the truth, doesn't really add anything to it. It's just sort of partisan posturing, so it's like, meh.
Well, then let me move on then, since we think that it's meh. There was something pretty interesting today. You and I have talked about midterm Mondays every week, and the congressional ballot, the generic ballot, had shown that Republicans were really in dire straits, but that has shrunk considerably. Democrats now at 47%, Republicans at 43%. So the Democratic lead has shrunk considerably.
So that's is that the Washington Post poll or is that the Wall Street Journal poll?
I don't know. I just wrote it down with my pen.
your high-tech pen. Either way, they're all saying the same thing, and they're in keeping with what our polls have said.
So why did you even bother asking me that?
Well, because here's why. When we look at other polls that come to similar conclusions, I like the Quinnipiac poll because, of course, they provide data about subgroups so that we can look at that. Republican and Democratic relative enthusiasm or relative support inside these spaces have remained about the same. But an interesting thing has happened. Independents' preference for a Democratic Congress has dropped 8 points in 2 months.
Is that because of tax cuts, tax reform, and the generally pretty good economy?
Well, there is all of that, but there is also this, which is what is the point of them? What do Democrats want to do? What would they do if they get the Congress back? And, of course, Republicans are out there every day saying all they want to do is impeach, impeach, impeach. Democrats are not going to be able to get through this midterm cycle without a message. Look, it's enough for them to hang together as a party around the precept of they hate Donald Trump. But it's not going to be enough to get the independent voters that they need, not only to vote for them, but to get out and vote in the first place. So they're going to have to come up with something that it looks like a contract with voters, something that looks like a plan in order to prevent that slippage at the margins. And
I also saw that Republican voter registration is up.
And in some places and Democratic in other places. What midterm elections generally are battles between the bases of the two parties, and decent people tend to excuse themselves from the process because it gets so ugly so early, it becomes so awful. And so that's why registration numbers count for so much, because that is a good reflection of enthusiasm and organization. In
the meantime, the president, of course, is trying to manage our involvement in Syria. And there's questions coming from both Republicans and Democrats, members of Congress and senators, who are wondering what sort of approval that the president's going to ask for, if any, from Congress. Senator Mike Lee just said this: while the president has the authority under the War Powers Act to respond when the U.S. is under attack, or in imminent danger. Such circumstances did not exist with regard to Syria. Promoting regional stability, mitigating humanitarian catastrophe, and deterring the use of chemical weapons might be important foreign policy goals, but if they are to be pursued with military force, a president must first seek congressional authorization. Well, number one, the president did not seek authorization. Number two, I think that if you saw UN Ambassador Nikki Haley yesterday, she said, you know, if we're not careful, chemical weapons could end up hurting us here at home as well.
Well, I don't know that that's going to feed the bulldog, but what the White House can count on, no matter what, is that Congress hates to do its job. My God, does Congress hate to do its job. They will do anything other than do their job. Mike Lee is part of a tiny, tiny minority of members of Congress who wish to fulfill and execute their constitutional duty on these questions. What this president, like his predecessors, can count on is the fact that Congress rolls over quicker on hard questions than anything else. They will fight you all day long over naming a post office, but when it comes to lighten up the tomahawks, they are not to be found. Okay. Do not disturb.
Right. All right, Chris Stirewalt, thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
President Trump saying every missile hit its target in Syria. Could more airstrikes be on the way? Plus, action in the United Nations on Syria, what we've learned about plans for a new resolution.
The U.S., the U.K., and France all standing together. You've heard a chorus of countries coming out in support of the actions that the U.S. and her allies took. I think Russia's taking notice of that.
I would like to take a moment to address my fellow veterans, because I know there are so many of you who have served your country honorably, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, or 32 years like myself. One of the benefits that we as a country give you as a veteran is your eligibility for a VA loan. Not 80%, but 100% the value of your home, and that's what you can get at New Day USA.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-877-521-8963.
If you're a veteran, own a home, and need money for your family, call New Day USA to use your valuable VA home loan benefit.
Thank you, Admiral.
It lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value.
Thank you, Admiral.
With today's rising home values, that can mean more money for you and your family.
Thank you, Admiral.
Money to pay down debts and get financial peace of mind.
Thank you, Admiral.
We'll do everything we possibly can to get you approved.
Call 1-877-521-8963.
At Safelite Auto Glass, we know that when you're spending time with the grandkids, every minute counts. And you don't have time for a cracked windshield. That's why at Safelite, we'll show you exactly when we'll be there with a replacement you can trust.
Well done, sir. Looks great. Thanks for choosing Safelite. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Saving you time so you can keep saving the world.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Your brain changes as you get older, but Prevagen helps your brain with an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, the name to remember.
At the Joseph A. Bank Super Tuesday sale, save up to 70% off almost everything. All suits on sale starting at just $199. All dress shirts, including best-selling Traveler, $39. Plus, take an extra 40% off clearance and go wherever the moment takes you. The Super Tuesday sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
The DR Trimmer Mower is the original trimmer on wheels, and over 30 years later, it's still the easiest way to maintain your country property. Trim along fence lines against buildings and around gardens. Mow down thick grass and weeds and clean out overgrowth on the roughest terrain. Our Quick Lock trimmer head takes the hassle out of changing cord, making it the easiest to use trimmer ever. Plus, the DR doubles as a 3-inch thick brush cutter with our unique cutting attachment. You can own a DR for as little as $349.99 with free shipping. Hurry, this offer won't last.
Call 1-800-731-0845 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn about the full line of DRs and how you can try one on your own property for 6 months. DR trimmers start at just $349.99 and free shipping is now in effect. Call today 1-800-731-0845. Online at drtrimmer.com.
Fox News alert on the fallout from U.S.-led airstrikes in Syria. President Trump saying every missile hit its target amid warnings that more could be on the way. All this as the U.S. gets ready to hit Russia with new economic sanctions for enabling the Assad regime in its use of chemical weapons. We have Team Fox coverage with Eric Shawn live at the United Nations, but we start with David Lee Miller on the Israel-Syria border in the Golan Heights. David Lee.
Dana, it's 9:20 in the evening now. You can see now the border is dark. Off in the distance over my shoulder, you can see the lights of a UN compound. Beyond that, there are Syrian villages. They are shrouded in complete darkness. These villages, many of them, are now in the hands of rebels. That might soon change. Many feel now that Bashar al-Assad may be emboldened by the recent U.S. airstrikes and may try and retake these villages. Meanwhile, earlier today in the Syrian capital of Damascus, hundreds of people took to the streets to take part in a mass demonstration of support for the regime. The demonstration was broadcast live on state television. There was celebratory gunfire as people shouted, "Allah, Syria, and only Bashar." This event was called a salute to the Syrian army. Meanwhile, tension in the region continues to escalate because of another growing conflict, this one between Iran and Israel. The escalation began 2 months ago when Israel shot down a drone it says was launched by Iranians from a Syrian airbase. Israel has now admitted for the first time that it was behind a retaliatory strike hitting that base last week. The Israeli attack killed 7 Iranians, including a colonel. And Iran is now threatening, quote, that Israel's crime will not go unpunished. And Israel, after examining that drone's remnants and the flight path, is claiming that drone was not on a reconnaissance mission, as was first thought, but was actually carrying explosives. It was an explosive-laden drone. So now we have these two countries in the Middle East, Israel and Iran, no longer threatening each other with proxies, but in a direct conflict that many here fear could engulf the entire region. Dana?
David Lee Miller, important report. Thank you. So a Fox News alert, our Syria coverage continues. 3 Western allies launching a bid at the United Nations to investigate the Assad regime's chemical weapons. The U.S., Britain, and France circulating a UN draft resolution, the move signaling a return to diplomacy after the U.S.-led missile strikes on Syrian chemical weapons sites. Eric Shawn is live at the UN. Eric.
Hi, Dana. Well, the chemical weapons inspectors happen to be stuck in Damascus while a dispute has broken out here at the United Nations. Russia is saying that there are security problems over there in the city of Duma, where that was the site of the alleged attack. But a spokesman for the Secretary General here at the UN said that is not the case, that they have given all proper clearances to the team to go to Duma. But bottom line, they are not there, but a team of media members have been escorted to the site by the Syrian government, but the inspectors are not. Meanwhile, the Security Council diplomats are considering a new resolution that would not just deal with the chemical issue, but a political settlement of the civil war. Diplomats really putting the pressure on Russia because of their continued support of Bashar al-Assad. Some observers wondering if the delays are all part of a plan to try and hide any evidence that the Syrians have denied.
We will start the discussion later today in good faith, in a good spirit with the 15 members. The goal of this resolution is clear. It is for the Security Council to restart a collective action to deal with the chemical dossier, to protect the civilian populations, and to work toward a political settlement of the Syrian crisis.
And there are harsh words from Moscow from British Ambassador Karen Pierce in an exclusive interview with me on Fox News Channel, the first interview of her as an ambassador by an American television network. She called on Russia to rejoin the international community and to bring Assad to the negotiating table. Ambassador Pierce also told me that Russia is acting like a, quote, rogue country.
We find it astounding, as do many people, that a country that helped build the Chemical Weapons Convention and the global non-proliferation regime, that Russia can now be one of those rogue countries that are looking to undo it.
Do you feel that Russia, as you say, is a rogue country?
I think it has those tendencies.
Well, Ambassador Pearce also said it is up to Russia as well as Iran to change Assad's mind and to try and start the peace talks. Dana, back to you.
So, Eric, in listening to the ambassador from the UK, I'm curious how the United States and our allies at the UN are dealing with the fact that Russia is spreading so much disinformation, not only in regards over the past few years, but about these actual attacks. I mean, are they united in trying to deal with that?
Yes, they are. In fact, in my interview yesterday, I did ask her about that, and she said simply that it is, in her words, 1984, that this is disinformation, it is continual denials that have no basis in any truth. She has pointed out that the Chemical Weapons Organization has confirmed, for example, the attack by the nerve agent in her country, in England, on that ex-Russian spy and his daughter, confirmed that that was a nerve agent that is from the Russian military, despite Moscow's denials. They certainly are pointing everything they have on Russia to try and move its way, as she says, back into the international community and part of the responsibilities as a permanent member of the Security Council.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, Eric Shawn, thank you. James Comey lets loose in a sit-down interview about his book, calling for ethical leadership, but does he live up to that? Meanwhile, President Trump on the road, talking tax cuts. We're live in Florida.
This could be one of the greatest booms ever. I think it will be, actually, because the companies are so strong and they're ready to rock.
America is getting back to work again. But with world economies so closely tied together, we can't afford another financial collapse, which is why I buy gold from Rosalind Capital. Hi, I'm William Devane. And to protect myself from trade wars, runaway inflation, and ever-devaluing paper money, I buy gold from Rosalind Capital because it protects the value of my assets. Whether you want bars, bullion, or premium coins, Rosalind has them all. We can't control what happens in the world, but we can control how we protect our portfolio. I say it's time we return to the America I know, and there's no better way than buying gold and silver from Rosalind Capital. So ask yourself, are you safe?
Call now to get your free gold, silver, and IRA kits. Call 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900. 800-630-8900.
Have you been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, bulging or herniated disc, sciatica, or other chronic spine conditions? Are you ready to find lasting relief? Call Laser Spine Institute, the nation's leader in minimally invasive spine surgery, to learn how a less than 1-inch incision can have you up and walking within a few hours of surgery, free from chronic back pain and with no hospital stay and no lengthy recovery.
Call 1-800-560-BACK now for your free MRI review.
Take your first step in joining over 60,000 patients who found lasting relief at Laser Spine Institute.
My boss would send me home because I was in excruciating pain. Going to Laser Spine Institute, I go in, I have the procedure, and walk out a changed person, good to go back to work. It's changed my life completely.
If you've been told you might need neck or back surgery, call 1-800-560-BACK now for your free MRI review.
Laser Spine Institute, a less than 1-inch incision, a lifetime of standing tall.
I love shopping, but my biggest challenge is fit. With Stitch Fix, my stylist finds that perfect fit for me.
Stitch Fix is my online personal stylist.
I don't really like going shopping. Stitch Fix is super easy. I tell them my style, boom, the box comes right to my door. No trip to the mall.
And you pick your price range, so everything's within your budget.
Having a great outfit on changes the tone of my whole day. Stitch Fix gets me ready for anything.
My style, my fit, delivered right to my door. Sign up at StitchFix.com.
Patrick woke up with a sore back, but he's got work to do. So he took a leave this morning. If he'd taken Tylenol, he'd be stopping for more pills right now. Only Aleve has the strength to stop tough pain for up to 12 hours with just one pill. Tylenol can't do that. Get all-day minor arthritis pain relief with an easy open cap.
Hi, I'm Barry Sloan with NewTek, your business solutions company. Does your business need money? Whether you need $10,000 or $10 million, you can count on NewTek, the nation's largest non-bank government-guaranteed lender. NewTek can help your business expand and grow. With a simple phone interview, we can pre-qualify you in just 48 hours. And with rates as low as 6%, you can see why so many businesses turn to NewTek. To see how easy getting a loan can be, contact NewTek, your business solutions company, today.
Tomorrow is tax day, giving President Trump a chance to tout his biggest legislative achievement. The president holding a roundtable in Florida, saying Americans will be paying less money to Uncle Sam.
Tomorrow, last day, very importantly, next year it's going to be a simple, for the most part, one page. It may get a little bit bigger, but it'll be simple and easy to do. And very importantly, you're going to have a lot of money left over from what you have.
Phil Keating is live in Hialeah, Florida. Phil.
Hey, Trump's USA Open for Business Roundtable in Cuban-American-rich Miami metro area wrapping up not too long ago. And unlike the president's last business leaders roundtable to talk about tax cuts in West Virginia, where President Trump went off script, actually talking very little about business impact of the tax cut package, today the event stayed far more focused with some local made-in-Miami stories as well. About 400 people stood up and cheered President Trump loudly as he entered the room, smiling and waving back at the crowd. And when Trump introduced his new national security advisor and former Fox News contributor John Bolton, the crowd gave him a huge ovation as well, preceding the president hailing the weekend's missile strikes on Syria a huge success. But the president quickly returned to the economy.
3 million new jobs, unemployment rates for Hispanics. Are there any Hispanics in the room? No, I don't. For Hispanics, we have the lowest level ever recorded.
6 business leaders from the metro area were invited to join the president on stage with his secretaries of labor and the treasury, as well as Senator Marco Rubio and Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart, also 2 crowd favorites. And as designed by the White House, the business leaders hailed Trump's $1.5 trillion tax cut package, his signature legislative achievement.
I've been able to invest in newer technology, been able to buy more equipment, and hire more employees for my business.
Our hourly employees have seen an approximate wage increase of about 20% in this short time period. People are earning more, and therefore, this gives them confidence to go out and spend more. A win-win for everyone.
There was definitely a love fest here inside this gymnasium at the Bucky Dent Park in Hialeah, Florida, which has the largest concentration of Cuban Americans in the country. From here, Trump went back to the airport in Miami. He's now on Air Force One, soon to land in West Palm Beach, where he will then join at the top of the hour First Lady Melania at Mar-a-Lago for the rest of the week. Dana?
All right, Phil, thank you. James Comey sparking a media frenzy as he promotes his book, A Higher Loyalty. But my next guest writing in his book review, it's hard for Comey to make hard news with this book. The territory has been so well covered by copious reporting on his memos and his congressional testimony. Carlos Lozada is the nonfiction book critic for The Washington Post. I read him every week, and it's a great thing to have you on the show because you've actually read the book. A lot of people are just commenting on the book since it comes out tomorrow. And I wanted to ask you, who do you think James Comey wrote this book for?
That's a good question. Thanks, Dana. I think James Comey sort of wrote it for himself. You see him working through a lot of issues and questions and sort of second-guessing himself on matters big and small, but kind of coming out saying, like, yeah, I think I pretty much did it right the first time. You know, this is not just a Washington tell-all. You know, this is a real memoir. Comey writes about his childhood, writes about, you know, some really interesting, you know, episodes he had growing up. And you don't really hear much about Trump or Hillary Clinton till fairly deep into the book. But I think it's reflective, and I think he's trying to work through things for himself.
You also write that that it was sort of a geek chorus, which I thought was a great phrase. And you ask the question, does Comey live up to the standards of ethics and leadership that he outlines in this book? And what was your conclusion?
Well, he talks a lot about ethical leadership, which is this concept he's really focused on, and that includes values of transparency and humility and loyalty to truth over personal gain.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, he confesses that he's very aware that he can be overconfident and stubborn and prideful. And so you see moments when he is attempting to live up to those standards of ethical leadership, but he doesn't necessarily always get there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when he came out and spoke about Hillary Clinton's emails and spoke very aggressively, he looks back and wonders if maybe the reason I spoke out in this way and announced that I was reopening the investigation late in the year, right before the election, was because I was thinking politically, and I was thinking she's probably going to be the president. I mean, look at the polls, and I don't want it to be said later that it's an illegitimate presidency because she was still under investigation. And yet he prides himself so much on being apolitical, on not thinking about the political consequences or certainly not polling data. And so there's something of a contradiction there. He also speaks out in sort of vague and harsh terms on his former boss, Loretta Lynch, the former Attorney General, and suggests that there was some hazy intel that suggested that maybe she could have been compromised. I don't think so, but it was there, and so that's why I felt I had to speak out independent of her when he came out in the summer of 2016.
Another one of your great lines in the review was that Comey isn't just the kind of writer who quotes Shakespeare, but the kind who quotes himself quoting Shakespeare. He rejects the notion that I am in love with my own righteousness, yet notes that I have long worried about my ego. And one of those things about Washington is that if you want a friend, get a dog. But truly in Washington right now, James Comey might actually find himself with not a lot of friends because the Republicans are mad at him, the Democrats are mad at him, and it could be kind of quiet if he has a D.C. book party.
I think Comey is sort of this almost perfect character for this moment. When we look back on this really divisive period in American politics and American history, he crystallizes that. He is not loved by any side of these passionate battles, and in some ways, Comey himself and the resonance of this book capture that.
All right, Carlos Lozada, I'm glad you could be on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
New drama surrounding the Speaker of the House and the man who wants to replace him, why they disagree on when Paul Ryan should give up his post.
I think it's important that Republicans be unified as we head into the midterms with respect to that. But again, our focus needs to be on making sure that the next Speaker is a Republican.
This is Lobster Fest at Red Lobster, with exciting new dishes like dueling lobster tails and lobster truffle mac and cheese. Classics like Lobster Lover's Dream are here too. So enjoy these 10 lobster-licious dishes now, because Lobster Fest ends April 22nd.
Pain cream. Honey, you smell just like my Walter used to.
Don't smell like Walter. Aspercream is odor-free for maximum pain relief without that Walter smell. Aspercream. No pain, no odor.
There are plenty of good booking sites, but your ideal hotel may only be listed on one, or several, but for very different prices. You really want to check them all? Instead, use Trivago to compare these offers and find your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
At the Joseph A. Bank Super Tuesday sale, save up to 70% off almost everything. All suits on sale starting at just $199. All dress shirts, including best-selling Traveler, $39. Plus, take an extra 40% off clearance and go wherever the moment takes you. The Super Tuesday sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
Millions of you are online right now searching one topic. That will generate over 600 million results. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, searching for answers, like where to treat, can feel even more overwhelming. So start your search with a specialist at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Start with teams of cancer treatment experts under one roof. Start where specialists use advanced genomic testing to guide precision cancer treatment that may lead to targeted therapies and more treatment options. Start where there's a commitment to analyzing the latest research and conducting clinical trials to help each patient get the personalized cancer care they deserve. Start at one of the Cancer Treatment Centers of America hospitals near you. The evolution of cancer care is here. Learn more at cancercenter.com/experts. Appointments available now.
For every home project, HomeAdvisor finds trusted local pros. For every pro, you can read customer reviews. And for everybody's busy schedule, you can book appointments online. For every project, you have HomeAdvisor. Go to HomeAdvisor.com.
When other snacks just can't satisfy, your Wingnut has you covered.
Hi.
Introducing Planters Crunchers, a nutty crunch inside a flavorful crunch.
Shepard Smith on the Fox News deck. President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, in court right now. And so is Stormy Daniels and her lawyer. Cohen admits that he paid the adult film star $130,000 to protect the president, to buy silence. Cohen and his lawyer are trying to convince a judge to let them decide which items from last week's FBI raid should be kept secret, because lots of questions about what they got. And the lawyer for President Trump says the president himself should get a look at the evidence. I'll speak with an attorney who can look at both sides. He says that the president does not have a right to see anything that the feds took. He'll explain why, and we'll have the latest from today's hearing. Top of the hour on Shepard Smith Reporting. See you then.
Midterm Monday, and an ABC News Washington Post poll showing Dems ahead of the GOP 47 to 43%, but their lead is shrinking, dropping from 12 points in January to 4 points now. While an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows registered voters prefer a Democratic-controlled Congress to a GOP-controlled one, 47 to 40%. Joining me now, Mo Elleithee, the executive director of Georgetown University's Institute of Politics and Public Policy and a Fox News contributor, and Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. All right, gentlemen, this generic ballot is bounced around a little bit, but that giant lead that the Republicans were looking at the Democrats having has been shrinking, Mo. And is that possibly because the Democrats have found it hard to get off of the impeachment talk and onto something having to do with policy?
I'm not sure that's the issue. There are a couple out there that are talking about impeachment, and I wish they would stop. But for the most part, most Democrats aren't doing that. Now, I think Democrats do need to focus a little bit more on sort of the positive message. And these polls are going to continue to bump around. But one thing we have seen that has been fairly consistent from the beginning of this election cycle has been a tremendous amount of energy on the ground, where in all these special elections, Democrats are outperforming their typical performance by 20-plus points and coming very close or winning in districts they have no business in. So I think the wind's still at their back, but they can't take this for granted. Democrats are going to still have to make a full-on contrast here. And Matt, the Republicans have shown an uptick in registration, which, of course, in a midterm election year for a president and a Congress and having the majorities, that's obviously very important. You got to go out there and try to find those voters, and it's coming at a time when the speakership is also in question on the Republican side. And I wonder how you think that those two issues might coincide, at least either help Republicans, or could it hurt them if they don't figure this out sooner than later?
Yeah, Dana, my view, first of all, the Democrats need to turn to a positive agenda. Yeah, I'd like to see just like one plank in that platform. I haven't heard anything positive for a year and a half. And I think that's one of the reasons these polls are narrowing. And as far as the speakership for the Republicans is concerned, I don't think Paul Ryan's retirement will have any impact. I think the drama you see on the Hill is Republicans who are worried about, does their close friend become the next speaker, and who is that next speaker? But I think the rest of America isn't very concerned about that at all. They want to make sure is that Republicans are focused on the right things. A big leadership race right now would be sending all the wrong signals. Republicans should be focused on doing everything they can to make American lives better, and that includes building off the successful tax reform and tax cut plan, the stopping of regulations, and making sure they do everything possible to give the American people economic prosperity.
Yep.
If they feel better economically, we're going to do just fine.
Yeah, and it's, for the Democrats, they've got to figure out what's going on. But in the meantime, 2020, it feels like it's way far in the future, but actually Politico today saying that Joe Biden is actually on top for Democrats at this point, saying that the bigger issue is whether there's a place for him atop the Democratic Party that's taken shape after the ruinous 2016 election cycle. This new iteration is unsentimental and unforgiving, and Biden has more than a few conspicuous Senate votes that demand a reckoning in the Trump-era Democratic Party. Mo, I know you give a lot of thought to this. And I know it's too early to talk about who the nominee will be, but just in terms of the type of Democrat that might actually emerge after these midterms that would want to challenge President Trump, what are your thoughts about Joe Biden?
So I think this raises such an interesting question for Democrats, and post-midterm is going to be a huge moment of reflection for them. If Democrats turn the nomination battle to a battle between left and center left, they will have learned the wrong lessons from 2016, just as if Republicans make any nomination battle about right versus center right. The real divide now is between up and down. It's between elites and masses. It is a populist moment. And so they need to be articulating the candidate who wins is going to be the one that can be the best champion. Joe Biden can articulate that. We'll see who else emerges on the scene as well.
Matt, I only have 20 seconds. Can you tell me your thoughts on Joe Biden? Does that worry you at all from the Republican standpoint?
Yeah, I agree with Mo a bit, but I also do think on the left that the Democratic Party has become, is in the stranglehold of radical leftists, and Joe Biden is a much more moderate character. I think he could give the president a run for his money, but I just can't imagine the left-leaning Democratic Party will give him that chance.
We'll give him the chance?
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, Mo Elleithee and Matt Schlapp, thank you on this midterm Monday. Near freezing temperatures at the Boston Marathon didn't stop one runner from doing something that has not been done in over 30 years. Plus, she was the wife and is a mother of President. Now, a much-admired First Lady is in failing health. An update on her condition.
Not having a good breakfast can make you feel like your day never started. Get going with Carnation Breakfast Essentials. It has protein plus 21 vitamins and minerals, including calcium and vitamin D, to help your family be their best. Carnation Breakfast Essentials.
Dear Foremothers, your society was led by a woman who governed thousands, commanded armies, yielded to no one. When I found you in my DNA, I learned where my strength comes from. My name is Courtney McKinney, and this is my Ancestry DNA story.
Now with 5 times more detail than other DNA tests. Order your kit at AncestryDNA.com.
It's okay that everybody ignores me when I drive. It's fine, because I get a safe driving bonus check every 6 months I'm accident-free. And I don't share it with Mom, right, Mom? Right.
Safe driving bonus checks only from Allstate. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
How do you feel when you look in the mirror?
I felt heavy and I looked heavy. It's hard sometimes to believe that's me.
Do you wish you could have slimmer hips, thighs, and a flat stomach? Now you can. America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist, Sonobello, has made it easier and more affordable than ever to get the body you've always wanted. Using advanced microlaser technology, our board-certified plastic surgeons remove hard-to-lose fat in as little as 1 day.
I look in mirrors now and I'm like, dang, that girl looks good.
For your free no-obligation consultation, call 888-317-1425. and get $250 towards looking your very best.
The best investment you could make is in yourself. 100%. I wish I would have done it sooner.
Call now and get $250 off. Payment plans are available. Don't wait one more day. For a free consultation, call 888-317-1425 now.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $599 when you call now to get this special $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free awning idea kit with DVD, plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free awning idea kit with DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
Runners in today's 122nd Boston Marathon had to battle more than the 26.2 miles. Driving rain led to one of the slowest races in years. Japan's Yuki Kawauchi won the men's race in just under 2 hours and 16 minutes. And on the women's side, California's Desiree Linden became the first American woman to win the race since 1985, doing it in 2 hours and 40 minutes. Today's race came 5 years and a day after terrorist homemade bombs exploded near the finish line, killing 3 people. Former First Lady Barbara Bush is in failing health. A family spokesman says Mrs. Bush will not seek additional medical treatment after a series of recent hospitalizations. The 92-year-old wife of former President George H.W. Bush will instead focus on comfort care at home. Casey Stiegel is live in Houston. Casey.
Dana, I know that she holds a very special place in your heart, and she is beloved around the world, really. A family spokesperson says that Mrs. Bush made this tough decision after consulting her family doctors and also her own family after being in and out of the hospital, like you said. So now it's more about keeping former First Lady comfortable and out of pain. The 92-year-old Bush family matriarch has suffered from Graves' disease, a thyroid condition, also congestive heart failure, and a pulmonary disease known as COPD. Jenna Bush Hager, of course, President George W. Bush's daughter, fighting back tears on the Today Show, talking about her grandmother. Listen.
We are grateful for her. She's the best grandma anybody could have ever had or have. And Barbara and I talked to her last night. She's in great spirits and she's a fighter. She's an enforcer. She reminded me not to believe everything you read. And so we're grateful for her, for everybody's prayers and thoughts.
She and that famous white hair and the pearls, Dana, really an icon. And as you know, she and Bush 41 just celebrated 73 years wedding anniversary. So thoughts and prayers are certainly with the family.
Absolutely, indeed. There's so many stories that touch all of us. Thank you, Casey, for that.
Gosh, I can't imagine.
Coming up, we will check in with the newest member of the Daily Briefing team as he learns the ropes at Fox from a new friend.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 Home Loan for Veterans. It lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and lower your payments an average of $600 a month. Call them today.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-844-383-1588.
All right, I brought in high protein to help get us moving and help you feel more strength and energy in just 2 weeks. I'll take that.
Ensure high protein with 16 grams of protein and 4 grams of sugar. Ensure always be you.
You take care of business. Let Office Depot Office Max take care of you. This week, save $469.95 on this tech package. Get a Dell laptop, Microsoft Office, 2-year protection plan, and more, just $599.99. Office Depot Office Max.
At Safe Flight Auto Glass, we know that when you're spending time with the grandkids, every minute counts. And you don't have time for a cracked windshield. That's why we show you exactly when we'll be there, saving you time so you can keep saving the world.
Guys, is this you? Busting out of your pants, no energy or drive, and you need Nutrisystem for Men. New for 2018, our best program ever. Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month. Money back guarantee.
I'm Essex, and I lost 43 pounds on Nutrisystem. I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Put down the wings, pick up the phone, and get with the program today. Order your 28-day plan right now, and we'll rush you Nutrisystem for Men with specially designed meals. Plus, 1 week of all new NutriCur bars free. 1 week of all new NutriPro shakes packed with 20 grams of protein to help shrink your gut, free. And 1 week of all new turbo boosters to rev your metabolism, free.
The food was delicious.
Pasta, pizza.
If you're like me and you like to eat, this is what you get to do.
Call or go online in the next 2 minutes, and we'll even throw in FedEx shipping, free.
It was perfect for guys like me who don't like to cook.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month.
It's simple. You eat the food, you lose the weight.
Go online or call 877-915-THIN and get Nutrisystem for Men with bars, NutriPro shakes, and turbo boosters free.
Hiring was always a huge challenge. Endless hours on job sites with not a lot to show for it. Then, I found ZipRecruiter. They figured out hiring. I post my job, they put it all over the web, and they send me the right people, because their technology is smart. ZipRecruiter often sends me the right person in 24 hours.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/Fox.
Everybody in America is a media critic right now. I do it for a living, and what I try to do is stick to the facts, get all sides, let people talk. Without that, you would have no credibility.
Our executive producer, Jennifer Williams, has been raising assistance dog Spike through the nonprofit Canine Companions for Independence. Now, with the help of his new friend Persia, he is getting ready to work here at 1211.
You say hi? Okay. You say hi? Yeah.
Who's that, Persia?
If anyone knows the ins and outs of Fox News, it's Persia, the 6-year-old explosive detection canine.
Good girl.
Although Spike is training to be an assistance dog and not a security dog, Persia was kind enough to show him the ropes of working at Fox.
He's just sitting there watching.
I know.
Very astute.
He's learning.
Yeah, paying attention. Up, Persia, up. Good girl. Good.
Persia spends each day sniffing the perimeter, checking for explosive compounds and devices.
And what will she do if she were to smell something?
She'll give me a signal.
Yeah.
Next, it was off to the loading dock to sniff cars and packages coming into the building, but Spike had some trouble keeping up.
I think we have to call MSA on this one first, huh?
Okay. Come on, we gotta catch up. We gotta catch up.
A quick water break and Persia was ready to continue her tour. She even showed Spike her break room before doing one last sweep. And now Spike is ready to go work in a new city with a new friend.
He's too cute. Spike, good meeting you. You did a good job.
Spike's a little pumpkin. Check him out, his Facebook page, or our page on Facebook and Instagram. Now, here's Shepard Smith.
It's noon on the West Coast, 3 o'clock in New York City, where President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, has gone before a judge, trying to keep secret some of the material that FBI agents seized from him. And special guest Stormy Daniels right there in court. Also, after the strikes in Syria, some defiance in Damascus, and talk of more penalties for Vladimir Putin. Plus, we're monitoring the condition of Barbara Bush, 92 years old, in failing health, and no longer seeking hospital treatment. Today, her granddaughter describes the former First Lady. Let's get to it.
Now, Shepard Smith reporting, live from the Fox News Deck.
And a busy afternoon it is. First from the Fox News Deck, a live look outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Attorneys for President Trump and lawyers for the president's personal lawyer, or fixer, if you will, we're not really sure yet which is more accurate, Michael Cohen, are arguing about what to do with evidence FBI agents seized during raids last week. In the audience, the adult film actress Stormy Daniels, seen here entering court today. She claims she had sex with Mr. Trump before he was president. Michael Cohen and the White House deny that. But Cohen admits that he did pay Daniels $130,000 to keep her quiet. The former porn star is in court, though not as a party to this hearing. Lawyers for President Trump say he himself should review all of those files before handing them over to the prosecutors, citing a vital interest in attorney-client privilege. The president's attorney submitted a formal request to the judge that reads in part, fairness and justice, as well as the appearance of fairness and justice, require that before they are turned over to the investigative team, the seized materials relating to the president must be reviewed by the only person who is truly motivated to ensure that the privilege is properly invoked and applied, the privilege holder himself, the president. Prosecutors say they want to have an impartial team of Justice Department lawyers not involved with a Cohen investigation to look over that material before they get it. A taint team, they call it, standard for this sort of situation. The feds raided President Trump's personal lawyer and fixer's hotel room, home, and office in New York City, all at just about the same time last Monday morning. Prosecutors say they're investigating Michael Cohen's personal business dealings. The Associated Press and others report that FBI agents were also looking for information on the hush money that Cohen gave Stormy Daniels. Cohen claims the $130,000 came out of his own pocket, and he denies he did anything wrong. Laura Engel is on Fox Top Story, live outside the courthouse in New York City. Have they broken up for today? Have we learned anything new?
We have learned a lot new, and they are still going inside federal court right now. The federal judge in this case ordered Michael Cohen to be here in person to answer questions directly related to who his clients are. She wanted to know how many he had and exactly who they were. Now, Cohen's legal team complied and named names this morning, sort of, in a court filing as requested by the judge, submitting a short list of 3 names. President Trump, GOP fundraiser Elliot Broidy, and a third person that they did not identify at today's court filing. Now, in today's proceedings that are underway right now, Stephen Ryan, one of Cohen's attorneys, was asked by the judge to specifically name the other name because they said it would not fall under attorney-client privilege to withhold that name. And he stood up and named him as Sean Hannity. So moving on to the rest of what's happening today, there has been a good deal of back and forth filings over this issue since last night. Both Cohen and lawyers for President Trump asked the judge if their teams could review the seized evidence before prosecutors to. But earlier this morning, Cohen seemed to change his tune and adjusted his request to ask for a third party, or what's known as a special master, to be appointed by the court to review the records seized. Mr. Trump's team still wants their own people to review the documents themselves. And a short while ago, the U.S. Attorney's Office responded, submitting another letter to the court, which says that the proposal offered by Mr. Trump's legal team, that they would be the first to screen the documents for attorney-client privilege, would set a dangerous precedent, adding that such a rule is unworkable and ripe for abuse. Shep.
Hey, Stormy Daniels also in court there, but not a party to these proceedings. Did she get to participate in any way, or did her lawyer?
Well, she's participating in the sense that she's here and she wants to be seen. There was a huge scrum of photographers when she showed up today. As she arrived, people were jockeying for position and some people were tripping over each other to get the shot to get her in. Her attorney, Michael Avenatti, is here as well. And he has said that Daniels is here today to make sure that all of the information regarding her dealings with Cohen are made public. Listen.
I think her message has been consistent, and that is she wants everybody to tell the truth and stop lying to the American people.
And you can probably see behind me, we've got a huge pool of reporters and photographers out here waiting to see who will come out and speak. The court proceedings are still underway. Shep.
Laura, thanks. Let's turn to Bob Bianchi now, defense attorney and former prosecutor. There is a sort of and we'll get to the other part that I'm sure you're curious about in a minute when I have a little bit more information. First, though, there's a procedure for things like this. Like if there's one kind of legal activity that's underway and been underway, and then someone kind of involved with that comes up as a separate matter, they want to separate the two things so that the wrong people don't get the right stuff, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Right, and how would you describe that legally speaking?
Well, it's what we call putting up a Chinese wall is an old euphemism, or the taint team that's going out there that's basically saying we want to make sure that this information that may not be relevant to the investigation does not bleed into or is released to the public inappropriately.
So it's as if they came, let's say they came to your house, and in your personal notes, you have stuff about 50 different people. Right. But only one of those is pertinent to an investigation that's underway, sort of ancillary to you, right? They wouldn't be able to get all of that, these investigators on the big case. They would just get the part that was pertinent to them. So if your daughter told you something about going on with a boyfriend or something maybe sort of serious in your life but had nothing to do with the other, they'd never see it. And that's what the president says he's trying to ensure, that it gets separated.
Yeah, but see, in any investigation, like I've executed search warrants and authorized them on lawyers' offices in very similar context to this. You don't get as a target or of a person that holds the communication the ability to be involved in the secrecy of the grand jury proceedings. This is a grand jury subpoena. Now, if something inappropriate has been done, that is something for a court to determine down the road, but not right now. And moreover, Shep, you don't do that because you don't want to taint the investigation and tip off where the grand jury is going with respect to the investigation. What makes me laugh about this, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
It's an attorney-client privilege, and I hold that very dear. But they went to a court, and the court understood that it was an attorney. They presented enough facts and probable cause where that court already judicially reviewed what it was they were going to be taken and said, we're making sure with an attorney-client privilege, that you highly scrutinize this with your taint team to ensure client confidentialities are not breached. What would we do, Shep, if every defendant or every target or every person had the opportunity to be able to review the information prior to the investigation?
This isn't just every target. This is the President of the United States. That said, there was a higher bar for getting into that lawyer's office in the first place because this was the President of the United States. So as this goes, those who were seeking all of this information from Michael Cohen's home, from his apartment, from his office, those who were seeking that had to convince a judge, if you don't let us go in there in a no-knock raid and go in and just take it all, there's reason to believe they're going to hide it from us and we're never going to know the truth, or the judge would never have allowed this in the first place.
Absolutely. And I know that everybody wants to look at this in a partisan way. And you know me, Shep, I try to do it straight down the line in terms of legality. They believed that there was the potential of destruction of evidence, and they convinced the judge of that. And after having convinced the judge of that, the judge said, okay, I'm going to issue this warrant. There's your judicial review. But you're going to use a heightened level of scrutiny to make sure that the attorney-client privileges of other people that are unrelated to the investigation are not breached here. This is not something that isn't done all the time.
So, based on what you know about what's happening and what's happening inside this courthouse today, one of two things is going to, well, I guess one of three. Either they'll say, don't look at any of it until we have let Mr. Trump and his team look over it, or let the taint team do its work, or some combination of the two. What would be your prediction?
I think that they would be setting, the court would know that was setting bad precedent by doing things differently than they do it in every case with the taint team. The taint team is there for this very reason. And if you make an exception for President Trump or Mr. Cohen, then you have to be able to say down the road that this is the way it's going to go for all cases, because the justice system doesn't recognize, Shep, a difference between the President of the United States or somebody in a menial job. Each one has the same constitutional rights. So I think they'd be setting bad precedent if they did it any differently than the FBI typically does it. And you know, Shep, I got this last point. This was a no-brainer. You have to be blind for many, many months. And when the Stormy Daniels thing happened and Michael Cohen made the comments that he made that Trump did not, as a lawyer, know about the agreement, and Trump then confirmed that on the airline. I mean, I sat there as a former prosecutor making the decisions and saying, just like it did when the obstruction file opened after the Lester Holt interview, this is going to lead to a search warrant of Michael Cohen's office. And we now learn not only was that true for Stormy Daniels in that scenario, not only will that also vitiate probably the agreement, it made no sense to me tactically, legally, why they did that. They put Michael Cohen in great risk. But we now know over personal financial business dealings for many months, they have been looking into this. And why? People will say it's a vendetta, but no, it's because banks started triggering warnings and notifications down to Washington, D.C., as they're supposed to with anybody, that money is moving here in a very odd way. That's what initiated. This is all the result of them speaking, which they shouldn't do, and actions that were anybody would know, is going to tip off the federal authorities something odd is happening, hence the bank fraud, wire fraud, and potential tax evasion issues.
It's interesting to learn the legalities of all of this stuff. Some things probably most of us, including me, never would have thought about.
Right.
Bob, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shep.
Of course, for us, the elephant in the room at the moment is that Sean Hannity is said to have, according to court documents, been a third client of Michael Cohen. There's a statement at the Hollywood Reporter supposedly from Hannity that says, we've been friends a long time. He did some legal work for me. Hannity's producers are working to contact him. Since it's now a part of the story, we'll report on it when we know the rest of it. A lot of people here know his number, so we'll get on that in just a second. Plus, the Kremlin is now said to be targeting computers around the world. Have you heard about this? The Kremlin targeting computers around the world in an enormous hack attack aimed at governments, private networks, and infrastructure. The feds have released details today. So is this retaliation for what just happened regarding the Russians or regarding Syria? No, because it happened long before that. We'll explain what you need to know coming up from the Fox News deck on this Monday afternoon.
Why should your business build a modern software factory? The new demand. Think about it. That retail store can't compete with this retail store running on an automated supply chain, analyzing trillions of actions to customize an experience, which now takes Bitcoin. But come on, you've got this, right? You're ready to compete, right? Well, TikTok, my friend. Who's going to help you supply this new demand? CA Technologies.
This is where life expresses itself as an endless flow of energy. Are you ready? Atlantis. Bahamas at heart.
Book by April 30th for summer savings at 1-800-ATLANTIS or AtlantisBahamas.com.
It's 99-cent Kids Nights at Golden Corral. Now kids eat and drink for just 99 cents. Under $1. Woo! It's prime time for family time. Come on now. Golden Corral. Your choice. Rules.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 Home Loan for Veterans. It lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and lower your payments an average of $600 a month. Call them today.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-855-459-7741. It's a new day for veterans who need money for their family. Home values are going up, and home equity lending is back. That's me. New Day USA has helped thousands of veterans close in as little as 30 days through their valuable VA home loan. That's me. Cash to pay credit cards, cash for retirement, or cash just to put in the bank. It's a new day in lending, and for veterans who need money, that can mean a lot. That's me. Call New Day USA at 1-855-459-7741.
You have a vision. It's behind everything you do. Even when you least expect it, it comes through. You know what you want, and we can help make it real. You need choices? We've got all kinds, including special finishes and papers. And they're all absolutely guaranteed. Because you have a vision, and we have your card. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter VC500 at Vistaprint.com.
Well, cleaning a little bit of housework here. You may have heard just a little while ago from court proceedings that there were 3 people who Michael Cohen had done legal work for, the President of the United States, one other, and a third. And that third has now been said to be Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity's on the air on the radio right now, but we just spoke with his publicist here at Fox News, who says that he says they have been friends for a long time. He never denied that he was his lawyer, that he did some legal work for him along the way. And that's the extent of that. We'll have more as we get it here on Fox News. U.S. and British officials say they will around the world. They say these were cyber attacks on government and private networks and that there were millions of targets. Think of it. The Kremlin with millions of targets in a cyber attack. This was documented in November of 2016, long before U.S. airstrikes on Russian-based forces inside Syria on Friday. So nothing indicates these cyber attacks are in any way related to Syria. So what are they? Our chief intelligence correspondent, Catherine Herridge, working on that from Washington. Hi, Catherine.
Well, thanks, Shep. U.S. and British officials held an hour-long conference call this morning with reporters in advance of a cyber alert, and we're expecting that really at any time. The allegation is that Russian government-backed hackers have targeted and infected computer routers from government agencies to businesses and critical infrastructure. The officials said they have, quote, high confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin's government is behind the cyber campaign. High confidence is an intelligence term that means as certain as they can be, given the complexity of the information and the issue. Officials said when a hostile foreign actor controls the router, they basically control the flow of information. Officials also told reporters the Russian targeting, they believe, is part of a broader cyber espionage campaign to steal information such as credentials and passwords. As you mentioned, millions of machines were targeted. And they also say, and this is kind of the worrying part of the briefing we had, that there is an offensive cyber capability. And they're concerned that the Russians are pre-positioning this capability for use during tense times with the United States or the West, Shep.
Catherine, the United States and British officials also said this is part really of a broader campaign. Could you explain that to the degree that they have?
Okay. Yeah, one of the big questions at the briefing this morning was whether it was connected to or in retaliation for the recent strikes in Syria. And they said no, because this has been going on for months. And as you mentioned, they first documented it back in November of 2016. And they've actually been tracking the hackers for over a year. They really believe it's part of a broader campaign because in the last year or so, they've identified at least 3 incidents of Russian hackers doing reconnaissance on the networks. That's a way to understand the best way to capitalize on the information and to steal it. We asked whether this compromise is really targeting the midterm elections later this year. And officials said that they don't know that at this point, but I think significantly they did not rule it out either, Shep.
All right, Catherine Herridge. Thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome.
More ahead on Russia and Syria, but first, according to President Trump, James Comey is a slippery slimeball, the worst FBI director in history, a criminal who lied to Congress and wrote some fake memos. According to James Comey, the president is a liar who's not morally fit to lead, may have obstructed justice, and may be compromised by Russia. That's where we are. Coming up.
I'm your phone, stuck down here between your seat and your console, playing a little hide and seek. Cold. Warmer. Warmer. Up. Boiling. Jackpot. And if you've got cut rate car insurance, you could be picking up these charges yourself. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Alice is living with metastatic breast cancer, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of her body. She's also taking prescription Ibrance with an aromatase inhibitor, which is for postmenopausal women with hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative metastatic breast cancer as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ibrance plus letrozole was significantly more effective at delaying disease progression versus letrozole. Patients taking Ibrance can develop low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infections that can lead to death. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to become pregnant. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite. Alice calls it her new normal. Because a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. Ask your doctor about Ibrance, the #1 prescribed FDA-approved oral combination treatment for HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC.
Dogs have evolved, but their nutritional needs remain instinctual. That's why there's Purina One True Instinct, real meat #1, a different breed of natural nutrition. Purina One True Instinct. Now try new Purina One True Instinct treats.
News live in D.C. with Mitch McConnell in an exclusive interview Tuesday.
How would you describe the perfect dinner? It's perfectly fresh, perfectly measured, perfectly seasoned. That's why Plated is perfect for you. Unforgettable dinners you can cook at home week after week. Go to plated.com/order and get 25% off your first 4 weeks. You'll get hand-picked, pre-portioned ingredients delivered to your door. Every everything you need is in your Plated box. Dinners start at $9.95 per serving, and delivery's free on select plans. Choose from 20 unique chef-designed recipes every week, like fish tacos with avocado sauce and crunchy slaw, or globally inspired dishes like beef rendang with Thai lime and yellow rice. In just a few clicks, you can plan dinner. We'll take care of the rest. See how easy and fun it is to make a dinner that's beautifully cooked, shared, and enjoyed. Go to plated.com/order and get 25% off your first 4 weeks. And make your dinners perfectly plated.
Okay, 21 minutes past the hour now. The former FBI Director James Comey says President Trump is not morally fit to lead. He commented on the president's hair and his tan and the size of his hands. He also said there is some evidence that President Trump possibly obstructed justice. Comey also said it's possible that the Russians have dirt on the president and that President Trump has no business being in the White House. In the first of many scheduled interviews, Comey sat down with ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
Is Donald Trump unfit to be president?
Yes, but not in the way I often hear people talk about it. I don't buy this stuff about him being mentally incompetent or early stages of dementia. He strikes me as a person of above average intelligence who's tracking conversations and knows what's going on. I don't think he's medically unfit to be president. I think he's morally unfit to be president.
Comey citing the president's comments about women. He also accused President Trump of constantly lying and said the president does not embody American values. On the obstruction question, James Comey said he believes that President Trump was asking him to drop the criminal investigation into the former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. We've heard that before. President Trump has denied that. Flynn has since pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. Of course, President Trump has repeatedly said there was no collusion and there was no obstruction, calling the investigation a witch hunt. President Trump, of course, fired James Comey last May, then said that the Russia investigation was on his mind at the time. Our chief White House correspondent John Roberts in full Palm Beach regalia, live from there this afternoon. Hello, John.
Shep, good afternoon to you here from Palm Beach, where it is warm, but it is breezy as well, very much like the weather that we left in Washington. The president, who traveled down to Miami this morning and now is in Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago, thinking an awful lot about James Comey over the last few days, tweeting about him 6 times between Saturday and today, including one tweet in which he said, quote, "Slippery James Comey, a man who always ends up badly and out of whack. He is not smart, will go down as the worst FBI director in history by far." The new Comey book is littered with a whole series of intensely personal observations and attacks by Comey on President Trump. He says that he thinks that there's a possibility he might have committed a crime, but adds, "I don't know." He thinks it's possible that he could have cavorted with hookers in Moscow who were urinating each other, but he didn't know. He also suggested, you said at the top, that the president may have tried to commit obstruction of justice, or in fact may have committed it, when he asked Comey to let the Flynn case go in one of their meetings back in early 2017. But James Comey saying he does not think that President Trump should be impeached for that. He thinks that the voters should push him out. Listen here.
If you're right, what is the remedy? Should Donald Trump be impeached?
Impeachment is a question of law and fact and politics.
You're a citizen. You have a judgment.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll give you a strange answer. I hope not. Because I think impeaching and removing Donald Trump from office would let the American people off the hook and have something happen indirectly that I believe they're duty-bound to do directly. People in this country need to stand up and go to the voting booth and vote their values.
The White House was already on the warpath against James Comey, but after that interview aired last night, they stepped it up, putting out 2 officials today, including Hogan Gidley, to absolutely trash Comey. Listen here.
James Comey is a disgraced, disgruntled, discredited individual fired from the FBI for lying and leaking to completely go against everything he was put in power to do. And only in Washington, D.C. could a proven, admitted liar and leaker be paraded around town as though he were the paragon of virtue. It's quite frankly disgusting.
This feud has been going on for months, if not years, between the president and James Comey. Well, certainly since the president took office last year. But now we see that this is reaching an even greater pitch after the interview last night. Shep, And it's just the beginning, as you pointed out at the top here, because this book tour is just beginning, and he's got a lot more interviews lined up. And everybody is going to be trying in those interviews, Shep, to get something that the person before them didn't have. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah. A government watchdog agency today found the Environmental Protection Agency broke the law when it spent tens of thousands of dollars on a phone booth for its director. John, I guess that was outside the limits because there's a set money limit that you can spend on things without asking mom and dad for permission.
Right. Well, a lot of people have described this as a phone booth. It's actually something called a SCIF. It's a segment. It's a compartmented information facility, secure compartmented information facility. Basically, it's just it's an electronic shield around either your cell phone communications or your computer or whatever. The military uses them all over the world. There's a lot of them at the White House as well. EPA Administrator Pruitt decided that he wanted one. You get a $5,000 redecorating budget before you have to go to Congress to say, hey, by the way, I'm going to spend some more money. The GAO found that Pruitt did not do that, and therefore he violated the law in doing that. Checked with some folks at the White House this afternoon about all of this, and basically what I'm reading, Shep, is it's just another black mark against Pruitt. Among many others, and there are some that seem to arise every day. The problem is that there are a lot of White House officials. Well, the good thing for Pruitt, but the problem for White House officials is there's a lot of folks who think that Pruitt has become a liability and needs to go. The person, though, who continues to support Pruitt is the person at the top, the president. So for the moment, at least, Scott Pruitt continues his job as the EPA administrator, regardless of how much money he's spending on telephone calls. Shep?
All right, John Roberts down in Palm Beach. John, good to see you. Thank you. The White House talking about slapping new sanction, or I should say economic penalties on Russia. They are sanctions, but economic penalties in this case, more specifically, over its action in Syria. This comes as chemical weapons inspectors say Russia and Syria are blocking them from reaching the site of the reported attack and have been for like more than a week now. We'll look at the aftermath from the missile strikes on Syria. And as we approach the bottom of the hour, the top of the news, and, middle of commercial break headlines, which always happen at the bottom of the hour, I should tell you that Chloe and Tristan have named their daughter. Her name is True Thompson.
What pushes us further than our best?
Is it the competition?
Or a personal test?
Or perhaps it's a hybrid of both. Your best is always ahead.
Because better is a never-ending quest.
Introducing the all-new Accord Hybrid. Now, North American Car of the Year for 2018.
Heartburn.
No one burns on my watch. Try Alka-Seltzer, ultra-strength heartburn relief chews with more acid-fighting power than Tums Chewy Bites.
Amazing. I have heartburn.
Heartburn relief from Alka-Seltzer. Enjoy the relief.
At the Joseph A. Bank Super Tuesday sale, save up to 70% off almost everything. All suits on sale starting at just $199. All dress shirts, including best-selling Traveler, $39. Plus, take an extra 40% off clearance and go wherever the moment takes you. The Super Tuesday sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
At Safe Flight Auto Glass, we know that when you're spending time with the grandkids, every minute counts. And you don't have time for a cracked windshield. That's why we show you exactly when we'll be there, saving you time so you can keep saving the world.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
With Expedia, you can book a flight, hotel, car, and activity all in one place. Everything you need to go. Expedia.
You do all this research on the perfect car, then smash it into a tree. Your insurance company raises your rates. Maybe you should have done more research on them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Switch and you could save $782 on home and auto insurance. Call 1-888-481-3166 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Leah Gabriel with the Fox Report now. The woman who says Bill Cosby drugged and molested her taking the stand for the second day at his retrial. Today, the defense claimed Andrea Constant visited Cosby late at night and called him on Valentine's Day, a month after she claims he assaulted her. But Constand argued the calls were about basketball and had nothing to do with romance. Cosby has pleaded not guilty. Meantime, here in New York, police searching for a suspect who they say stabbed and killed a college student. This happened last night at Binghamton University, about 140 miles northwest of New York City. The school released a statement saying the police do not think the stabbing was a random act. And Buckingham Palace transformed into a rainforest. This colorful design lit up the building late last night. It's part of Queen Elizabeth's Global Conservation Initiative. This week in London, leaders from dozens of countries meeting to discuss environmental issues. Shep will be right back.
Prudential asked these couples, how much money do you think you'll need in retirement? Then we found out how many years that money would last them.
How long do you think we'll keep?
You're gonna leave me back here at year 9? How did this happen?
It turned out a lot of people fell short of even the average length of retirement.
We have to think about not when we expect to live to, but when we could live to.
Let's plan for income that lasts all our years of retirement.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
So I think I got to get my roof repaired. You know anybody?
Yeah, actually I might.
Yeah, great. Can you do a free background check on them? Get me some additional quotes and book it for 2 weeks from now.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything Home Advisor can. So to find and book a top-rated home pro for free, just ask Home Advisor.
It's time to drop all those unhealthy pounds that have been weighing you down.
I'm Michelle, and I dropped 41 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Introducing new for 2018, Turbo 13, our best program ever. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast, money back guaranteed.
I'm Marie, and I dropped 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Order your 28-day plan right now, and we'll rush you Turbo 13 with specially designed meals. Plus 1 week of all new NutriCurb bars to curb cravings free. 1 week of Turbo Shakes to help shrink your belly free. And 1 week of all new Turbo Boosters to rev your metabolism free.
79 pounds down.
Call or go online in the next 2 minutes, and we'll even throw in FedEx shipping free. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month.
If I can do it, you can do it. Join me in the millions of people who have lost weight with Nutrisystem.
Go online or call 888-652-SIZE right now and get Turbo 13 with bars, shakes, and Turbo Boosters free.
You take care of business. Let Office Depot Office Max take care of you. This week, save $469.95 on this tech package. Get a Dell laptop, Microsoft Office, 2-year protection plan, and more, just $599.99. Office Depot Office Max.
A U.S. official says Russia may have tampered with evidence at a site of suspected chemical weapons attack in Syria. And British officials accused Russia and Syria of blocking a team of international inspectors from reaching that site in Douma outside Damascus. The inspectors say Russian and Syrian officials told them that they could not go near it because of safety concerns. Russia's foreign ministers told the BBC that he can guarantee Russia has not tampered with the site. The Kremlin has repeatedly denied that there was a chemical attack there or anywhere else, and claimed images of children foaming at the mouth and other videos were actually staged. Despite Moscow's denials, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France launched dozens of missiles against Syria, targeting sites the Allies say were chemical weapons facilities. A Syrian general claims most of the U.S. missiles were shot